All right. So this should be good. Now, I've gotten some notes on this before it came out. The main thing is they got a lot of things wrong, which is very typical for people who are covering Star Citizen stuff, who are not actually, kind of stupid like us and follow it pretty closely. So this is quite normal for an Angry Joe video and many other videos or articles that are written about Star Citizen, right? So it looks like about a 25-minute video talking about the pay-to-win aspects of what's happened recently and highlighting it. Again, this gets outside the Star Citizen community, but keep in mind, Angry Joe has a hard-on for hating on Star Citizen and stuff like that. So there's certainly going to be some bias here where I think the anger and frustration from the active community in Star Citizen is frustrated not because of necessarily a lot of the things that have happened as much over the years, and more of the, like, they want the game to be really good. They want it to succeed, and they feel like what they've seen works against that. So, yeah, just all prefacing all that I'm a little... I don't exactly condone some of Angry Joe's behavior in the past, especially like the interview with Brian Chambers and stuff like that. It's a little rough. I cringed through that a few times over so far. But this is titled Star Citizen Has Gone Too Far, Pay to Win Mods After $800 Million from Angry Joe.
Next story, probably the big story, Star Citizen. And I know people are already mad because I've mentioned it. So they've raised $800 million so far from their community, and they were going to add a new ship upgrade. And this ship upgrade also, again, because people are crazy, yes, it did improve your ships, but it also made other parts of your ship worse. But you would do that thing because like it makes your ship better, which you wouldn't do it otherwise if it didn't make it better. So you would pay.
You make it better for like what you want to do, but it kind of okay. It hasn't necessarily made your ships better, right? But that almost makes this worse because they actually think the community, like, it just shows how fucking stupid they think we are, right? That's where it comes down to, is they know that you are that dumb that you will spend in upwards of $40 for a nearly nothing change, right? So it highlights it even worse than it seems because it isn't good. If it was good, it would be bad. It would be horrible. But because it isn't good, it also highlights this other thing is like, look at what we could, look at the snake oil that we could sell to these idiots. It just shows what they think about us, right? The pricing of them is really telling to how stupid they think we are. And in reality, how stupid we actually are because people were buying them.
Pay for this thing and it would help you win.
So wait a minute. So we're spending $40 for a ship, $100 for a ship.
Those are cheap
thousands of dollars for a ship, $15,000 for the big ship that a clan can run.
No, he was there for a little while and then he went off the deep end. It's not $15,000 for one ship, but fine, we get the point.
Hundreds and thousands of dollars on these ships, right? Now, and they've built a whole economy out of this, and people are invested. But what did it take to piss off a community that's unpiss-offable? Well, now you take those ships, and
that's kind of the point here. That's kind of the point here, is like a lot of people who, like, I've gotten so many comments when being upset about this of the, I don't agree with you very often, Mike, but this is bad. And the irony of that is everything that I've talked about over the years was warning you about this. So how can you not have agreed with me in the past over these things? It was, this is where we're going. This is what's going to happen. If we keep doing this, it's not good. Oh, but by the way, I get a lot of other comments. Where were you when? Buddy, I was right here. I was right here saying exactly what I'm saying now. So don't come at me with those arguments, because you're clearly a dumbass if you think I wasn't here saying the Atlas is horrible. If I wasn't here saying XYZ was horrible, because I have been for years.
Now you piecemeal individual blades in it. And this came about via that large ship I was talking about that already cost, $15,000. And they were saying, oh, here's another thing. If you don't have enough players, you can install AI modules into the different turrets so that they operate on their own. And by the way, these module systems is not just going to be for this ship. It's going to be for all ships in the game. And then they started selling.
He's not wrong about this one.
These AI blade modules for $10, $15, $30 more expensive for better ships. Better ships, more expensive blades.
No,
and these individual blades
detected.
is like boost your speed by this much, reduce your turn radius by a smaller amount. This and that and that and this. And it is fucking ridiculous. And to piecemeal this game out in this way, to piss off the community in this way, and yet have another generation of revenue stream it's desperate. It must be that they have run out of funds.
It looks desperate. It's hard to say, have you run out of funds or not, since the closest we've seen of their financial situation is 2 years ago. But it feels that way. It feels like desperation.
Funds.
It's bad.
I mean, I've been telling people for fucking weeks, according to the reporting, they have spent about $800 million on the game, which is how much they have raised.
This is the most mismanaged game of all time, I think, at this point. Chris Roberts.
Starfield? Potentially? Maybe? I don't know. Hard to say. Hard to say. Because, like, I don't want to say a positive thing in this situation, because I largely agree. But I think all of you guys are naming games that have literally, like, crumbled and have failed. Star Citizen has yet to fail completely. You know what I mean? That's one. The other thing is I think it got mismanaged completely in like 2014, 2015 when they decided to do the procedural planets thing, right? So now here we are with constantly trying to solve that problem that was created back then. And yeah. A former CIG dev in chat says Star Citizen is a managerial clusterfuck. It's been a long time since you worked there, but I believe you. I still believe you. The other thing is, they do get, like, they have gotten something out of this in the sense of server meshing is kind of there, kind of. The procedural planet stuff is crazy. They did get Idrises that are, battling each other. Like, they have pushed the boundaries of what anybody thought a game like this could do up to this point. So the mismanaged part is largely due to trying to make that tech as a focus first. And it's more been the mismanaging communication and the sort of slapping on this game tag to them building out the tech. You know what I mean? It's like the whole time the game has never been a focus for them, and the tech always has. And then they kind of slap this thing on there that makes it seem like a game. Disagree, the mismanagement has been scope creep. We're in agreement then. I said the scope creep in 2014 and 2015 is a big problem. But the results of that scope creep are actually kind of cool and pretty incredible. What we can do in the game now is a testament to, like, hey, I'm like somewhat glad they did some of these things, right? I'm just not happy how they went about doing it. So it's, yeah, But
has no fucking idea how to make a video game anymore. The managers and people in charge are running amok. Never thought I'd say this. We said this 3 years ago, and it's still an ongoing saga. They need someone like an EA to come in, an EA CEO, and say, cut this shit out. We're cutting that, we're putting this shit out. Then once the shit is out,
bro, this game is so bad that these people think EA would be better. That EA would be better than the current people that are here. That's how bad the situation is that these fucking guys think EA would be better management than the management that are already there. That's how bad the situation is, right? That's how bad the situation is. Obviously, EA would cut some cool features that you think are cool. Obviously, EA would input a battle pass, and there would be plenty of other bad things. But just look at it from the outside that these guys actually think a company like EA, Bethesda, or Microsoft would be a better situation than the current one.
Then you add to it. You know what I mean? Somebody who'll go in there. But
it shows how misinformed these jokers are. No. It's showing how wildly it's kind of like the Wild West for CIG is. Like, they have no consequences. So they're just implying that if there were consequences from somebody who is actually managing the development of the company, that things would happen, right? Whereas when everybody's just doing things willy-nilly, that's how the Flightblades thing happened. So, like, he's not wrong. Obviously, nobody wants EA to run Star Citizen, okay? Nobody does, because it would come with its own problems. But it's just kind of funny.
To add insult to injury, I just looked this up. So, yeah, Alex, actually, finish what you're going. What's saying about the blades?
Yeah, so you could purchase the blade, and then people were upset because it was perceived pay to win, and then also it's getting to the point now where they're like, hey, you would be able to unlock these games in game eventually, but we're giving you access to them now because they need money. And the reason they need money, as of the end of 2022, they had spent $637 million on the game's development. That's only in 2022. End of 2023, additional $163 million for more expenses. It keeps going up. They are spending so much money so fast that people aren't buying ships as fast anymore because they've got all the dedicated people. And there's only so much milk in each cow. Now, whale milk is different, right? One comes out the consistency of like cheese, which is weird, right?
What are we doing?
I wanted you to learn something.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's real thick and kind of gross.
Yeah.
But like whale milk is different, but there's only so many whales, and so like they're milking these normal people. Yeah. And if you've already dropped $800 over the last couple, decade,
yeah.
If you spent $1,000 over the last decade,
yes.
Getting these additional pieces it was the last straw for too many people.
Because realize.
Maybe income isn't the problem, but the expenses. Everybody knows it's the expenses. It's the running 2 games at one time. There's no way they can hire a studio to just work on the PU versus just work on Squadron and stuff like that, right? So you got people who are bouncing back and forth. You got people who are dedicated on one and dedicated on the other. And I imagine there's way less people dedicated on one. Sorry, Joe, for the pause. That's, I chose the wrong time, I guess. But, but that's, there's no way they can keep this up, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be free game in the fucking universe. When the universe releases, when it finally releases, it's gonna be free. You don't have to pay any of this. Well, get this: if you don't pay your $750 for this particular ship and another $50 for some of the AI modules, when that guy's ship blows up, he gets it immediately in his hangar, and the blades too.
Not immediately. There's never been anything that says immediately, although you are getting this stuff immediately-ish right now. The plan is to do something entirely different than that. What I've always had issue with this is that they will never lose them completely. There might be a way to get them back. It might cost money. It might cost material or something like that. I do believe that Wicklow, the barter trade, is a test for how we get those items back, where you turn in certain things like favor to him and he'll go out and find your items or something like that. That's actually what I believe these barter trades are actually testing. I think that that's what that is intending to do, is like you are in favor with these guys and they go out and get your stuff back kind of thing. But that being said, my issue with that is from an economic standpoint. I don't really care if somebody personally, wants to wear their armor and not lose it kind of thing, but it does have a wider effect on how the overall game would play. And when there is an economy, because I see you saying what economy, when there is an economy, or if there is, I should say, I don't, the type of game that I want to interact with is where I'm not just going out gathering material for people, is like I'm building ships for people, I'm building armor for people, I'm building weapons for people, and that we're all doing those things together. But if it's just this like go out and get material and then I'll use that material to get my own stuff back, I just don't think that that's as fun, and that's always been my issue with it.
Back in his hangar. If you grind for that ship, it's going to take you 150 hours to get it. You're going to work a real fucking job. After you get home from work, you're going to work another job. Still holds true. And then once you get that ship, then you get the ship. And then if that ship blows up or that ship is stolen, that's it. You do it all over again. Another 150 hours.
Unless you pay for
Unless you
insurance.
fucking pay.
Real money.
Unless you fucking pay.
Well, there's only one other way to get a warranty, right? Like, in order to get everything back, you still need a warranty, correct? Like, I'm still confused by the current issues with insurance. What is the difference between a warranty and insurance? They say you can get a warranty in game IRL. Or yes, but you have to go through, and there's limited ones. You're not going to be able to get as many warranties as you get unlimited on the pledge store, right? Warranty equals gets back the ship after some time. Insurance gives you money back. Warranty gives you back the ship. Yes. Okay. And then there's different levels of insurance where you get the items back. Right? Because there were 3 levels of insurance too that were like, I get the items back, or I get everything back and it's in the exact place that I left it. That's the part where I'm confused about, but it's like, you need a warranty for those levels of insurance to work. I have no fucking clue. It's so damn confusing. It's so stupid, and it's so convoluted because it only exists because they have a pledge store for this garbage shit, right? So it sounds like Eve Insurance? What? It sounds nothing like Eve Insurance. Eve Insurance, you die, the money just goes into your account. It doesn't even add up to nearly any of the shit that you had on it, and that's it. You just get a little bit of money back. Insurance level 1, you get the ship back stock, right? Insurance level 2, you get the ship back components. Insurance level 3, you get the items on the ship. That's what I thought. So then what does warranty refer to? Yeah, that's all changed, Santa Grill. The level just refers to how much is covered, but then tier 3 is like everything is there, though. Okay, so the regular insurance is just money, and then the warranty is the actual items come back. Whatever. In the grand scheme of things, Joe is making the point that the pledge store is incredibly powerful in this scenario versus just playing the game, which is what people are starting to get frustrated because people just want to play video games. They don't want the pledge store to have as much power as it does.
Pay real money. So this is why this shit is not for fucking ridiculous. Now, since anyone who would label this as a paid advantage, many are understandably labeling it as pay to win, and this backlash is so severe that now the flight blades have been delayed, and when they go
they're not delayed
live, you'll be able to use in-game currency to buy those blades because the
nope. Unfortunately, That's not what happened. It's even fucking worse than that. It is straight up, oh, we're just going to keep doing the same thing that we're doing right now because we already did it. They don't want to walk it back. They don't want to do the refunds. What they said was, we hear you. We hear you. But we don't give a shit what you think. And we're just going to keep the status quo. And what we're going to do next time is we're going to still sell this garbage pay to win, but we're going to also put them in the game at the same time. So you'll have to play some convoluted shit in order to get it, or you could just give us $15. And then also, you'll never lose this item ever. Impossible to lose if you buy it, but possible to lose if you don't.
Blades originally are a limited time
and that's it. That's the only change, is that we will still do pay to win, but we're just going to do it at the same time as the game. Holy.
Them only now because they need to generate all that money. So initially they were saying there's a limited time, you can't get this otherwise, but now I think it is going to be available to everybody later on.
Yeah, they're pushing it to June. So they said, but after some reflection, we've decided that for smaller components like flight blades or bomb racks, they should be available in-game at the same time they...
Bomb racks, Joe. Look at him. Look at him. And Joe's just like, you know, the one brain cell he has left from hearing all this shit. This is his face. He's just dead. He has no idea.
Here in the store. They were just doing like...
pay for bomb racks on your fucking ship. You already paid for the ship! Keep in mind, you've already spent $175 on your ship. Well, you know what you want with that ship? That's an extended war. That's what they...
It gets even worse. Because if you look at the Kickstarter goals, there's a Kickstarter goal for like flight tuning. So that was already paid for. And this is delivering, like this actually might be something that could get them in trouble legally. I wonder. If somebody really wanted to try it, I wonder if they would have a case. Probably not. But it makes me like curious. Because there's a Kickstarter goal that says flight tuning at a certain number. That was achieved. This would technically be them delivering that. So they have to deliver that to everybody. Right? That one looks a little bit weird because this is flight tuning. This is tuning. So, and now the crazy thing is you have to pay for that reward. It was a $47 million reward, apparently, and you have to pay for it right now in order to interact with that system. That sounds like some sort of not okay thing to do from that standpoint. I know, Everin, it's just... It's so convoluted and stupid.
Their ship, Joe. They're used car salesmen.
So did it have layaway for my bomb racks?
And we're not even talking about physical. At least you can come to work and you can drive around in your car and you can go to various places, like go hiking. But these are digital goods, Joe. You'll never be able to physically enter your ship with your digital bomb rack. Okay? And then when this blew up in everybody's face, and CIG's initial response was hilarious. They basically used the excuse of having to work on 11 patches for 2025. But the fans don't think that justifies putting more microtransactions in the game. Hey, we did 11 patches in 2025. We are doing work, and this is expensive work. Release the fucking game!
All right, dumb comment, but
yeah.
Sure. Move on.
According to SaltEMike, this is a guy that does a lot of Star Citizen content. I've actually watched a bunch of his videos for research, and he's still very much a mega fan, but he also calls them out. He says the root issue here is you continue to sell more and more items in the game that have a wider impact on what a player would do day to day. And then another user says components shouldn't be on the store at all. Never mind later on. People are angry because these are being sold in any way, shape, or form for real money. It is almost like when you spend $500+ on a ship in a game that hasn't come out yet. Maybe you should.
Why? They should not be hurting for money. They've raised over $800 million.
They should not be, but they are, right? It doesn't matter. They are. There's just better ways to go about this. They just chose the worst possible scenario, you know?
They're acting as if they are desperate for money.
But
There's literally better desperate things to do, though, which is, it just is so weird. They just chose the most, like, disconnected, we don't even like our community kind of choice. It was just, like, so weird.
they are desperate for money because they've spent all of it.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, just simple Google stuff. I mean, we pulled it up previously on, like, because they put out their financials, so we know how much they've spent on. They had previously spent on it, like, year after year, and it's like, hey, we spent 800 million. It's like, yeah, you only had 800 million. So we're at the point now where they may have to start borrowing money from somebody somewhere.
There's a loan somewhere in the like for like 10 million, and it might have been to make payroll or something, right? Or was it a loan that went out to an individual person? I don't pay attention to this stuff, so please, I'm not saying this is true or whatever. They do loans all the time, though. If you look at, like, their British thing, I think people see that they, like, there's loans that happen all, but business runs on credit lots of times. So this isn't like an uncommon thing. I wouldn't freak out about that too much. But there was, like, a loan that went out to somebody, or a loan that came from somebody in the more recent time. I saw some post about it. I don't read too much mind on that stuff. The second I hear, like, an employee didn't get paid, that's when it's kind of over.
Big company, they don't want to do that. They'll never do that.
10 million from shareholder to CIG. Yeah, there you go. And that was a loan that was made. That's probably to, like, meet payroll, to be honest. So why would they need a loan from one of their shareholders other than to meet payroll? So that's the first thing that comes to my mind. But again, I don't like reading into that stuff too much because I know I'm misinformed on it. I know I'm not a business person, and I don't know these kind of things. But yeah, it's not a good look.
Chris Roberts won't ever do that.
Well, so
they'll rather just lie or do something all fucked up.
Like this is what it is, right? Like, if you're completely out of money, it's like, we need to sell $10 cup holders for your ships don't come with cup holders. In order to get a cup holder, you have to give me $10.
So get this, and now I've done more research on top of this because it's been a week, like, a few days since this was announced.
He's done more research, but literally everything that's come out of his mouth has been completely wrong except for, like, one thing. But Alex has been pretty good so far.
I might break this video out in a separate thing just to upload it separately so you can get right to the juicy bits. So they did this new tactic in order to generate more revenue because we think they're desperate for money, right?
I think they're desperate for money, and they're trying to see what they can get away with. I think this was let's try this. And they went, oh shit, that didn't work.
You've already paid for this. So I went back because I was an original backer.
He did it.
I don't even know how long ago.
He has a metal card somewhere.
I lost that card. It's gone.
He did the research.
Where's the fucking card?
I've seen it. We've seen it,
and it's
we made
fallen
fun
out
of him for years.
It
It's
is
like, you paid what?
Paperweight.
It probably
paperweight.
disintegrated. It's been so long.
He looked at it. There it is.
I'm an original backer. So we paid for these AI blades back in 2014.
Get him,
Why?
Joe.
Because it was
Get
a
'em.
$47 million stretch goal. If you go
We
back
already
into
paid
their
for
funding page, I guess they forgot their own fucking promises. They forgot their own, on Kickstarter, here is stretch goals, boom, bam, bam, we're going to give you this extra thing and this extra thing. If they hit 47...
This is different based on the description, so they'll use some legal speak to say these things are two different things, probably, but they're essentially the same thing.
$7 million to make this game. By the way, they've reached $800 million. Here's what you get. Engine tuning kit. You get a kit. It's one of the best-selling starter kits for the discerning home enthusiast featured in Whitley's latest Steel of the Year issue. This kit comes with everything a fledgling engineer to take a deeper look at the mechanics of their engine. You'll be able to view your output and modify the energy draw numbers in an easy, comprehensible way. Use the 38-piece Omni tool to access your engine and start tweaking. So There were engine tuning kits. You could tune your engine with tools. Oh, this seems even more elaborate than what they promised with the AI blades. Because here you could do it yourself, but the AI blades do it for you, I guess, is going to be their excuse. That was at $47 million. There's another 100%. One at the very end of the page.
Oh, I didn't know about this one.
At $65 million was the last stretch goal.
Oh,
because they were
different.
like, well, we can't come up with.
This is different, but you can argue that the bomb racks are similar to what he's about to say, and the new weapons stuff that they're selling. Okay.
A bunch of stretch goals that go on forever. So they stopped at $65 million. What was the $65 million stretch goal? Enhanced ship modularity, which is exactly what we're talking about.
It's different. These are blades.
Oh, okay.
These are, you said ship mod. No, different blades.
But I wish we didn't call them blades because people get hooked on the blades. But what's really bad has been the bomb racks, like, are completely changing what your ship will do. Turrets on certain ships that weren't supposed to have them or never had them before. It's kind of crazy. But what would CIG have done then is what they're doing now with like this almost looks like a complete A/B test, right? You ready for this? Guardian MX versus Scorpius with a missile turret, right? They're the exact same thing, except one thing would be more of like a microtransaction where, okay, I have one ship and let's see if people will buy mods for that ship and place them on them. Can we make more money off of that? Or will more people buy something like the Guardian MX, which is essentially modding a ship, but it's a whole ship that we're going to sell them? Right? Even though that's not exactly what's happening. The Guardian MX is a completely different thing, but it's the concept of it. It's like you had a Guardian, but this is now a Guardian with 4 guns instead of 2, a new shield instead of a bigger or a second shield instead of 1, or whatever the change is, right? You think it's kind of like A/B testing to see what they can get away with? That's kind of what I'm thinking, maybe. Is I think they're trying to see how far they can push it, and they found out what the reaction to it is not good. What their future reaction is going to be can literally have a No Man's Sky level comeback. For me personally, is if they go back and are like, we are never doing this again, we're sorry. We hear you, and we're actually going to do something about it. I think that would be so huge. So huge. It would not be like a caught and then we all point it and laugh at them that they got caught. It would be like a Con 42 clapping session of like, holy shit. But they won't do that because they're so lost, dude.
So you have the ship of your dreams, but really wish that it could be customized to suit your needs a bit more than the off-the-shelf models? And this new goal, a massive undertaking, by the way, is going to be of interest to you. We are looking at overhauling any suitable ships, including the Cutlass, Avenger, Retaliator, Redeemer. How quaint. They had they could only name 4 ships back then, to allow many modular components to be available as swap-outs.
I love this. This is
maybe
so
that
good.
stretch goal meant you had the availability to purchase.
For example,
so this has been added to the game. This exists in the game now. They've only done it with one of the ships that he mentioned, right? I think maybe 2. So they did actually deliver on this. It was a big undertaking for them. This is one of the things that they wasted the money on. They never needed to do this, but you could do this with the Retaliator now, yeah. But I think this was like way far-reaching. But what they mentioned the Cutlass. So instead of the Cutlass, 30 different versions of them, it was meant to be modular, and they never did that. They sold 30 different versions of the Cutlass instead.
If you have purchased a Redeemer and then using the new system, you would have a variety of new modules available to refit the ship, internal and external.
They mentioned the Redeemer, by the way, which is hilarious. A ship that they essentially just killed.
To suit your play requirements. This is literally describing AI Blades. If you want to make a bounty hunter ship, you could buy a quote-unquote stasis chamber module for the lower deck, and you would be able to capture and store fugitives to be delivered for their bounties at your leisure. You could configure the upper deck to be outfitted with a long-range communication suite, allowing you to keep in touch with your info agent even when in deep space. Fed up bounty hunting? Swap in a larger cargo module in the lower deck to make a profitable run you've been planning for a while. Jesus Christ, they're made like novels over here in the stretch goals. I think they just hired an author for a book, and he was just writing a sci-fi book.
That's literally what they've done. Yes. This is what, when you go to the narrative section of the monthly report, a good percentage of the work that they do is writing the upcoming sales and not writing the game stories, right? Which is what 100% of their work should be.
And he was writing advertisements in the sci-fi world for the sci-fi book. He didn't actually know that somebody's going to actually have to deliver this stuff after a while.
See, those are the old components. This is like 11 years old. Those components don't work on this ship because this is a different model.
Oh, right. These components were just for the Cutlass, Avenger, Retaliator, Redeemer.
They don't work. They don't work.
They don't work on the other ones.
That's not the way it works.
Yeah, we gave you those. What are you, greedy?
Yeah, Little
you buy a
Joe's
10-year-old
actually
car,
got
the
some
new
good
components
input
don't
in
fit
this
on.
one.
Exactly.
He usually
I don't know what
doesn't
you were
say much.
expecting.
That was a good one. Good one, Little Joe.
Wow. This to me.
I get it, but I don't.
What do you mean you get it?
Oh, I completely and totally understand everything that they're doing. Like,
Yeah.
it absolutely makes sense.
No, the
We
people
get
backing
what
it as
they're
well.
doing, but you don't get that people still giving them thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes, I get it. It's like, look, I invested this much. I want to see where this goes, but you already sunk in a lot, so you feel. I feel like you're stuck.
Yeah,
But this is just like this got. Yeah,
It's for me, it's not what I spent. I can care less about that. I mean, guys, I lived in a gambling world forever. I played poker professionally. Like, money comes and goes. It happens. But for me, it's the like, wow, you could see that there's a chance this game can actually be good if they just open their fucking eyes and stop fucking it up left and right. Like, every patch you get one cool thing that would be like, holy shit, if they just made a game, this would be amazing. And then they do 30 other things that just undermine all of it. And it's just getting so old.
there's got to be a fucking breaking point, even before this though.
Well, this was a breaking point. It was so bad when they released all these things
Pot
that
committed,
they pretty much
yeah, I
received
guess I'm all in.
universal hate. I mean, of course, there's those people that that want to
Yeah.
to lick the boots. But then they pulled it back and they're like, fine, we won't release these.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if the
was not a
numbers
pullback.
that are being reported are accurate, I'm not making it up. This is not my opinion. If the numbers that are being reported of their expenditures are accurate, they are out of
Burning
fucking
through their
money.
money, yeah.
And if they are out of fucking money, and they remember,
we might not even get a game.
well, so that's the thing.
Well, they're
Because
fast tracking the single player.
they said that it was feature complete in 2023, which a lot of people don't believe anymore.
No.
And they said that they would need years and years of polish. And if it needs years of polish and they spend $150 million plus a year, they need $300 million just to release Squadron 42 at the same rate of development as along with these other things.
Yeah.
They need a massive influx of cash. Now, the problem with
this might
that,
be worse than what we think.
if someone comes
This is
in
a
like
good
the
point.
Saudi fund or any of these other people that like to buy up portions of games, they're going to want a return, and they're going to want $9 cup holders, and it's not going to be just blades and these other things.
Bro, if any of that happens, I'm immediately selling everything I have in my account, which is not that much because I gave most of it away. Immediately.
So it's like we're at a really interesting point in the Star Citizen.
I'll still follow the project. I'll still play on an account with nothing on it. I'm out.
Development where they are I think they are truly out of cash, and if they are out of cash, they're gonna be desperate to do more fucked up shit. You know that ship that you just said is $15,000, $5,000 now because they're desperate. And how the people who bought
The prices are different for content creators and people that have already spent money in the game. That's already a thing for that massive ship.
Yeah.
What? That's not true.
$1,000 now because they're desperate. And how the people who bought
The prices are different for content creators and people that have already spent money in the game. That's already a
Oh, he means referrals. Yeah, I mean, they're just free for people like that. If they're like really ridiculous about doing the referrals, but
Thanks for that massive ship.
Yeah.
Guy, you know, you want to see the fans' reaction? The Star Citizen. I started going here on Reddit.
Subscribers get discounts too. Yeah, fair.
You know, 5 more years of this, and I'm gonna get mad.
Yeah.
That's a little meme that somebody put, but somebody responded to that meme, laughing out loud. That's pretty funny and actually understandable. You know, you'll end up as one type of player. I'm the 24-14 backer who plays 1 week per year. I don't have time to get angry over this. So that's the kind of community that they have. So they don't care. Some of them, but some of them.
Well, they're just not playing either. So they're the perfect Star Citizen backer, right? Give them the money and don't clog the servers up and cost them any.
Do care. And it said, look, honestly, as a Star Citizen fan, this is from Logic DL. It's still really annoying to see Hello Games release more free expansions to No Man's Sky and still refuse to take at least $10 fucking for the said expansion each time. And CIG releases Blades for $20 each module with timed exclusivity, and when confronted, just go, okay, so we'll release them at the same time and on the store and in the game. Does that make it better? Instead of realizing that selling Blades in the first place was the dumb idea. Like, come the fuck on, CIG. You have $800 million. Release a damn game if you need the money so badly. But as Alex says, it doesn't work like that. They may not have the money. You say had. And then another guy, definitely CIG are good at shooting themselves in the foot, which is especially sad when you have a gang waiting for them to do it and just have something else to go nuts at, because then this guy's more mad about the reaction to the people going nuts when something bad happens at CIG. Maybe you shouldn't react like that. Maybe you should be with the rest of us so they stop fucking up.
Exactly. This behavior has been allowed by our community for way too fucking long.
Now here comes their defenders.
But I'm the bad guy.
If it were actually pay to win, it would matter. We've already seen the results of how much they affect, and they increase one area while decreasing another. Slotting in a blade at this time is no way a guarantee of victory. Also, just like everything in Star Citizen, they will be released into the verse for looting or purchase by the end of the summer. Many of those people screaming about this have zero issues about how the new ships are sold. It's goofy as fuck.
Once again, most of the arguments are around gameplay being sold, period, not the pay-to-win aspect of it. And it is still pay to gain something. Not good.
Now selling components on the store, granted, is a bad move, and one I wish CIG would have stayed away from, but it's worrying.
Honestly, Xylo might be a cool guy, but I don't want to see him posting on Spectrum anymore, because every time it's fuck you, thanks for the money, and that's just shitty. If Xylo doesn't post it, then Ulf will. If Xylo doesn't post it, or if Ulf doesn't post it, then Spectre will. If Spectre doesn't post it, then Chris will. If Chris doesn't post it, then Niku will. They don't make the decisions. Their post doesn't represent their personal feelings about it. They are being told to make these posts by someone else. That post is being approved by someone else. That post is being edited by someone else. They're literally being paid to be your punching bag, which is super unfortunate, which is why I'm saying do not punch that person. Punch the company for for allowing this to be a thing and for putting those people in that position in the first place. Holy shit. They should be managing the community, which means like hanging out with them, playing the game with them, talking about all the things that they like, and, you know, maybe getting feedback on some of the things that they don't. Look at what this has turned into. Do you not understand that, like, Flight Blades are the microcosm of all of this bullshit existing in the first place? Like, the fact that that post even exists is because of all of this. It's insane.
How long before the entire ship loadouts, weapons, components, and ammos creep in again? That is scummy and is worth being openly and loudly against. However, screaming pay to win at the top of their lungs just makes people look moronic. As he opens his credit card and pays $5,000 for the next.
It's weird. He's saying, this guy's post is saying pay to win is bad, but yelling about it is bad. So, like, the moron is that person, clearly.
Ship, insurance, and multiple blades and say...
Because he was like, oh, selling all these other things are bad and you should be upset about it, but don't be upset about it. It made no
it's okay,
sense.
because it's not pay to win for your digital goods. Yeah, that's moronic. That's the moronic part. Worrying that the game is becoming pay to win. This guy's an idiot.
It's going to launch. I look, and I want to reiterate,
Yeah.
I'm super excited to play Squadron 42 if it ever comes out, and Star Citizen, and I'm not going to put a single, like, other than, like, the base cost to play the game from
Oh, we're
Steam.
going to be first in line to fucking
can't
play
wait
that
to play
shit.
it. I'm only going to pay $40 to $90 or whatever it fucking comes out at, and I'm going to probably have the same
You just set the price then, brother. 90?
experience as all these other fucking...
90 while we already paid for its development. Like, here's the craziest shit. The craziest shit about this is we paid, right? We paid for Squadron 42 to get developed. All that 800, I'm just making up a number. It's not a real number. 90% of it went to Squadron 42's development. And then, you know, some of that comes back to Star Citizen's development, which is totally not true because obviously the networking stuff, it doesn't matter. Get to the point, Mike. We, as backers, paid for Squadron 42's development. Then you buy it. They set the price that goes for the AAA funding models where they need to pay back an investor and a publisher and a distributor and a this and a marketer and all that, right? When we paid for the entire game's development, we paid the expenses the whole time and they get the profit. They get the profit. And they're not going to turn that profit into Star Citizen's development. They're going to keep that shit. That's what I think is going to happen. They're going to keep that shit. And they're going to ride into the sunset and Star Citizen's going to fail. That's what I think might happen. That's my fear. That's what keeps me up at night. That's what keeps me up at night. I don't know if that'll actually come true, but that's what keeps me up at night. And then what could happen is they make billions of dollars because Squadron 42 is the best game ever. And they reinvest that back into the company, make Star Citizen, have your, you know, monetization aspects of the game, and then you build an empire like something like WoW built off of Warcraft's back, right? But they won't.
Crazy.
I'm going to ram every expensive ship I see.
Yeah.
Good news, little Joe. You can't do that anymore. You used to be able to, but now if they have a really big, expensive ship and you ram them with a small ship, you die because pay not to lose? Oh, okay. Is paying not to lose pay to win?
I'm like, I don't care. I spent $570.
It comes right back to my
comes
head.
right back.
With my
Poor.
log.
Now, if you're...
Yes, because physics. And I do agree with that. But just to make the joke, it's whale protection.
If
man.
you
A
ram
log
a free-to-play
whale
player,
armor.
you are, you will cause... You might get shot. You might actually get shot in the real world. So don't do that.
Ram everyone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work.
You mentioned before that this has been a wildly mismanaged project, and I don't think
Never seen it. Never seen it happen.
That it's going to continue to be mismanaged.
The reason it looks incredibly mismanaged compared to other games is because they're so fucking dumb that they show you how badly they're mismanaged. Where other companies just wildly mismanage the entire time and you never see it and they just fail.
And if we're truly in the final 2 years of
There's
development,
no way these are the only idiots out there.
it's going.
Oh, they said it's 2027?
Well, they said feature complete for Squadron 42. It needs a couple years of polish, but we don't know what that means.
Yeah,
and
that was 2 years ago.
That was 2023. Is when
Once again, release date is in 2026 until they move it to 2027. But for now, release date in 2026. So they didn't get this one right.
Prediction again? I think we have that up.
Oh, yeah. I'll pull
and
it
so
up.
it's,
When's the next convention? Maybe we should hit up the next Star Citizen.
we're gonna
convention.
get like they're gonna let us in.
I don't
They're probably not going to let you in.
think they'll let us in. at
They
this
used to do
point.
it here, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, they stopped that a long time ago.
They're spending
Because
too much
I'm here,
money.
I guess.
Yeah, which is weird.
Well, they're also spending a lot of money doing that shit.
Well, I mean, they know that they've
Well,
got.
that, Joe, is what generates them money. And it was in the article. They have a Star Citizen con
Let's
coming
go.
up. And then all the Star Citizen people that are so depressed right now and are ranting against the company and rallying, they're going to all open their wallets once more. Oh, it's fine. Look, that new trailer they released. Oh, this then
So
no,
guys,
there is no
nothing short.
No con this year. It's digital only.
Oh, they are out of money, Alex.
That is one way of looking at it. That they can't even afford to pony up for the con before it comes out. I don't look at it that way. I kind of believe what they said about it is that they can't deliver a con because they can't deliver on what the con would need, and that is the entire company working on the stupid trailers for the con, when the entire company needs to work on getting Squadron 42 because they're out of money, right? It's not, I don't know if it's like as we can't even pay the bill to do the con, right? Because again, they're making money hand over fist right now, so it's hard to say. But yeah, we'll have to see.
I mean,
I thought, because I wanted to
This kind of exposes to me that they have a lot less than I thought.
check it out. It's like, hey,
They are
work
out of
100 hours
money.
this week. Don't worry, I got a pizza party.
is the digital
That's
con.
confirmed. Then that's confirmed.
Well, I mean, you see the
They're out
pictures
of
of
money.
their offices and all the other thing. It's like you guys have just been lighting money on fire, and you just thought that this was a never-ending gravy train.
Yep.
And I mean, like I said, like you can only milk some of these people so much.
Pizza party?
That's why
Okay,
they're
so
going to
apparently
China.
our predictions were
China's
Star
the new
Citizen
gravy
Squadron
train.
42 or Beyond Good and Evil. That's what we were talking about. We didn't actually do a year, so let's go ahead and do a year.
We did a year, but probably before we started recording.
Okay,
these
well, I'm
things.
going to record the year. Okay, now what? What are you thinking?
Squadron 40.
27. 42.
I think that there's a little better than a snowball's chance in hell that it comes out next year.
Ale, which one? Squadron 42?
single player.
Oh, yeah.
42
Only 40.
in 2026.
And I don't really believe it. But I
OJ,
think-
when does
Yeah, like here's the deal: Star Citizen will not go under. They will get an investment and fuck the whole thing over before they would let it go under, right? They would ruin the game before letting it go under. Is what I think would happen.
Squadron 42 come
7.
out, just the single player version that apparently was feature
2027.
complete 2 years ago? So you're taking 2027?
Yep.
I think that's right. But
In 2020.
With the GTA delay, you think they're going to push it to 27? I think with the GTA delay, you would like them to release it in 26, so they're not competing with it.
7.
I just thought of that because
AJ.
of, was it Gollum? Watch Gollum and then we'll play Squadron 42.
This is such a huge controversy, and like Squadron 42 should be out by now. I don't understand. All the recordings are done. All the motion capture is done.
The sheets are done.
Did they accidentally fire the guy that puts all that together? The engine is running with ships are flying.
every time they add something
What
to
is happening?
Every time they add something to Star Citizen, they probably try to put it in the single player experience, and then it just makes
I think
everything.
it's the other way around. I think it's Chris goes, it would be really nice if we could do this, and then they show it to us. We open our wallets and pay for it. They put it in Squadron 42. They never give it to us, or they take forever to give it to us, and then they keep making Squadron better. But yeah, but it's feature complete, by the way.
worse.
So I would normally say 2027, but I think that the digital con, the desperate for money microtransaction stuff has me to believe they're running out of money. So they're going to put out Squadron 42 faster,
unfinished,
more than they need to. So I'm going to also say 2026.
OJ just price right us.
Okay, Alex, the universe, when does it come out?
2030.
He's
Shit.
right.
I think I was thinking of at least a full year.
After? I
I'll
think
say
2 years after, so I'm going to go 2028.
Yeah, I guess I'll say 2027. I think,
2027 for universe?
yeah.
Okay,
For the sake of
Joe,
making things interesting.
when is
Yeah.
universe?
I don't think it's going to be complete.
Nine.
I think they're going to release it in a 1.0
Yeah,
garbage
fair
patch.
enough. We're just
Yeah.
saying, and not a fucking Alpha 4.21.
No,
a
no.
1.0
Full
release.
release.
1.0.
They're talking
Joe?
about Star Citizen?
2029. Let's
Like
do it.
5
Or
years,
never. It
maybe
just
more.
never comes out.
Or never, yeah.
He's gonna take off.
Do you want to do the never?
gonna
Because
flee
never
like
used to not be on the
Or
table. Actually,
Squadron.
never used to be on the table, but never is actually way more on the table now than it has been ever.
Yeah, it's on the
Because of
table.
the lack of
Never is
money.
on the table.
Damn.
How many times have they changed graphics engines? Just once, right?
Yeah. AJ, I'm going to make a bold
Technically
prediction
never,
here.
yeah.
Never. Never. The universe will never be as advertised.
Well,
So you can
that's not
go
a bold-
through
That's not a bold prediction. That's a fucking cop out and a half, Joe, because it's already not as
the
advertised.
entire Kickstarter. What I'm saying is go through the entire pledges, all the things that they promised in the each individual pledge, 47 million, 65 million, 100 million, none of that will be in universe. And I don't really mean at release, I mean just forever.
You don't think that they're going to do
They're going to miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 elements in there and never put it in.
Yeah, of
I can
course.
see that.
Universe
Very-
never
very
as
cold take.
advertised.
You know, I still don't like No Man's Sky and how I got
take.
lied to, but you got to give them credit for coming out and constantly fixing the game. I don't think that they can afford to, for free, continue to fix their
They
game.
won't.
So
They won't. You're right.
I don't think it's going to be
Absolutely
like
not.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
That reminds me of like this guy, this Star Citizen guy that I used to see on Twitter when I would go on there before I just couldn't take it anymore. He's one of the reasons because it was just so stupid. This guy would like look up stuff that like was kind of leaked or was kind of already out there and would be like, mark my words, this is going to happen. Right? And he would post it on Twitter. And then when the thing actually happens, he would be like, see, and like retweet that tweet and be like, see, I told you it would happen. I'm so smart. And I'm just like, holy fuck, dude.
Fucking Star
what are you
Citizen,
doing?
such a big rant and
Son
angry
of a
reaction, but we wanted to get in depth in it and talk to you and
He
get
knew.
the reaction from the community and all angles here. But getting back to other news stories, do you have one after Star Citizen?
No, that was the big one for this one.
Okay.
All right. So that was that. All right, cool. Lots of stuff got wrong, but absolutely hilarious. And you can't argue against it. It's so bad. You can't argue against some of the more like outrageous things that were said. You know what I mean? And if you can't argue with them, they're probably true. They're probably true. And in this case, it's CIG dug themselves a massive hole and have made some really, really stupid decisions. So, really stupid ones. And if they would just go back on them, they would be all right. But the egos, man. The egos are too big. And so far they haven't. We'll see, but they're just not addressing the point. The point is like things that you expected to be gameplay. So like here I've heard, this was the Rich Tyrer era. Remember that fucking conversation? No, that is not surviving very well right now. The arguments that I keep hearing, and I will address this right now, is the outrage is not meeting, like the outrage is way more than it should be because these things are so insignificant, or you should be more outraged by the Idris, or you should be more outraged by this. Here's why nobody's outraged about certain things while being outraged about this. I have to say it 100 times. I'll say it 100 times until it sinks into your thick fucking skulls. All right? And especially at CIG. People are at peace with ships being pay to win, or there being no starting point in the MMO and everyone starting in different places. People are at peace with that so long as the things that you put in those ships, like shields, power plants, weapons, flight blades, bomb racks, all of those things are things that you have to play the game to get. Sorry, I'm incredibly allergic to horrible takes from the community, right? People are expecting those things to be the things that you do in the game, right? So most people were like, all right, so you buy the ships on the store, so then we play the game with those ships. And part of playing the game is upgrading your ships, right? So the moment that one of those upgrades ends up on the pledge store, whether it was the 300i sale, I called them out for that. Whether it was the Atlas sale, I called them out for that. I've been calling them out for selling LTI for years, right? Those are the things that people are increasingly getting frustrated by. If you can't see it, you're blind, CIG. If you can't see it, you're blind. It is not an overreaction to the blades. It is I am sick and fucking tired about your overall behavior. And the blades are just another thing. Again, the bomb racks and the weapon kits are way worse than the blades. Way worse. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. And yeah, it's another drop in the bucket, but eventually that bottom of the bucket's going to fall out. And that's what happened this time. And that's it. That's all.